Okay, gamers. Yeah, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different because, of course, now that we have another Grand Theft Auto game out next month, to be exact, in the middle of September, there was a couple of countless delays which I knew was coming, so I figured I was going to do a whole, full review on every GTA game, but I figured due to all the technical problems with my computers, I'm just going to, do my own little perspective. I know the editing is going to be kind of crappy. There's going to be, basically no editing in this, maybe a little bit. But, there's not going to be any actual gameplay footage to show you. But I'm just going to give you it in my own perspective, retrospect of every GTA game that I play. Well, not every single one, because then I'll be here all day. But I'll keep the older, ones on PS1 short and sweet. So I'll start from that point. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 are kind of the same thing. It's overhead view, not much to really offer, but back then it was pretty cool for its time. People today may like Chinatown Wars if you like this kind of game for Nintendo DS or PSP. For PSP, I thought it should have been better than this. I mean, come on. But as soon as Grand Theft Auto 3 hit the mark, wow. I can say it definitely pushed the boundaries of what any game can really do. And it drew up so much controversy that you could imagine. I mean, how much controversy can there actually be in a video game? Mortal Kombat gets it for all the blood. Doom gets it for all the blood and shooting and everything. But these games get it as soon as Grand Theft Auto 3 came out for basically anything. Drugs, hookers, violence, killing cops, cursing. I mean, it's just about anything that makes a video game controversial. And GTA 3 was like the start of it. And, for my retrospect, it was just amazing though, despite the controversy. And, I was slightly a little bit young to be playing these kind of games, so I believe my brother actually had this game. And it was a blast. I mean, being able to, steal cars and you get, a radio soundtrack, it was just incredible. But, it had its difficulties as well. Every time you do something, you get the police after you, but every time you do a mission, you have to, try to avoid the police and everything. It's just incredible. It's a basic mafia type, shooting type game. It's a driving game, and there's side missions with racing, and, it just goes on. I loved it, and I was looking forward to the next installment. And this is where the installments started officially stopped naming them after numbers. Instead, they started chronologically going backwards. So if anyone was confused, yes, starting with Vice City, this instead of taking place in the modern days took place in the past. This took place in 1986 to be exact, playing as a drug dealer or a criminal who just got out of jail, trying to rebuild his life. Every city is named after a real-life city, or, well, it's supposed to depict a real-life city, but they never go by the real names. Liberty City goes by New York. Vice City is obviously Miami. I thought this game, as I said before, my Scarface review was actually, the Scarface game, considering it was, inspired by that movie. And Christ, you had the house in this game. I mean, it was just phenomenal. It had more to do. It had more, unlockables. You got the boats, you had more weapons, you had, just a bigger city. I always thought the most annoying things were when you cross the bridge every time, you get the loading screen. Tedious, but, you get over it after a while. But every time you got to, it's like, come on, really? And now I'm going to start doing, my favorite missions and my most hated missions. But this game is just going to be one of my most favorite and my most hated one. My most favorite has to be the one where... Yeah, it has to be the bank robbery one. This takes place after my most hated mission. This was after you gather everybody up to do this bank robbery. But, when you gather everybody up. The last one is when you race Hillary. Because you want him to be your driver. That's my most hated one, because he drives so freaking dirty. I had no choice but to keep using the gravity cheat. Occasionally I had beaten it without it. But the most loved one is the one right after. It's rewarding, in a way, if you actually manage to beat that without the cheat. Go in and rob the bank. I don't know what is it about it. I know this game is wrong, that you're doing all sorts of illegal stuff, but come on, it's a game, But I love this game. It was so awesome. The soundtrack, was out of the 80s and it fit perfectly. And every time at the end, too, I always, because you're in the Scarface house, as I call it, I'm always saying, say hello to my little friend. Because you're taking out Sonny. Sorry for the spoilers, people, for any of you. I'm sure a lot of you have played these games if you're watching these videos and are big Grand Theft Auto fans. But this game rocked. I was so excited for the next installment, which I knew was yet to come. And it was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Another prequel, but it's a sequel to this prequel. It takes place in 1992, I believe. And all I had to say was, wow. I mean, the map was humongous. I was never more surprised with this game as ever. There was so much to do in this game. There were so many more side missions. The one thing they really improved on I didn't mention before, as I recollect, was every Grand Theft Auto game, you're never able to swim until this one. This was the first one where you can jump in the water, even at the start of the game, and you wouldn't actually, just die instantly. That I felt was kind of annoying. But yeah, and you can ride bikes, not motorcycle bikes. You get those in Vice City for the first time. But this game you actually get pedaling bikes. And there's also police motorcycles. And yeah, you can go to fast food places and get fat or just throw off. And you can get haircuts, tattoos. There was so much to do in this game. It just blew my mind. It was incredible. The soundtrack could have been better, but it was pretty good. It was satisfying for my taste. But the greatest improvement that they did was made the most humongous map without any loading times whatsoever, no matter where you go. I mean, this makes Vice City look puny in comparison. I was just amazed that PlayStation 2 was able to master this. I was just simply blown away, by all means. Okay, now, I could say I divide the map up in 4 or 5 pieces, because it's all in the West Coast. Obviously, Los Santos is supposed to be Los Angeles with Vinewood instead of Hollywood. I think is it Badlands? I think it's supposed to be the Rockies, I think. I'm not really 100% sure, but I know it's somewhere out west. Or maybe the Sierra Nevada or something. Not really sure. But then when you get out of there, you're obviously in San Fierro, which is San Francisco. The trolley cars, the hills. No-brainer, and the Golden Gate Bridge. And once you cross there, you get into the desert, which I'm assuming is, I think the Nevada or Arizona desert. Yeah, it has to be Nevada because of the Area 51, considering that's where it's located. Yeah, it's real. I believe it's real. It's in Nevada. Of course, you see a bar with a flying saucer. And then you finally get to the last point, Las Venturas, which is obviously Las Vegas. As I said, they don't keep their real names. I gotta say, I was just simply stunned. But maybe the maps are a little too big, because every time you gotta drive, it does get a little bit monotonous having to drive a lot, but there are different ways. I mean, you can take cabs, you can take planes, you could steal helicopters, and even get the freaking jetpack, for Christ's sake. There's just so much to do. I mean, there's just half the times I don't even feel like doing the missions. I just feel like going in the casino and gambling. I feel like going into bars and playing pool and whacking people with the pool cue sticks. It was just too much to do. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than Vice City. But don't get me wrong, that game was good, but this game definitely did more than what it should. It was just an overblow of enjoyment and excitement. It was well worth it. Now, as I said, my favorite mission in Los Santos, I'm going to say this was a tough decision. Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one if I ever do. Yeah, but my favorite one in San Fierro, I'm going to say, is the one where you have to, you work for the car company that does the valet parking, and you have to steal a car and put weed in it and bring it back. It is fun, but it's annoying at the same time, but I still enjoy it after, you complete it. I always tend to laugh at that scene. My most hated missions are the zero ones. My most hated is definitely the remote control airplane one. I hated that one. It was so annoying because you're under well, not a time limit. You're under the gas limit, I guess, because of the gas meter. And then you have to bring the stupid thing back, and it's so annoying to control. And I hate Zero's voice. But it took me a while to figure out you don't need to even beat these missions. I wish I knew this ahead of time, unless you're looking to get 100% completion. My most favorite in the desert definitely is the one where you have to steal the jetpack. I mean, out of the Area 51. I don't know why. It was just a blast. I love that mission. It was just simply my favorite. My most hated one, tough decision there. Like I said, I'm trying to divide it up, because it seems like it's several different maps, so it's only fair to do more than one on this game, because the map was so huge. Las Venturas, my favorite one has to be the one where you go in and steal the blueprints by taking pictures, but you gotta cause a distraction because doing so is prohibited of, the new casino design. My most hated has to be the one where you have to tie the guy to the windshield and drive around and try to scare him. Because half the times I just kept screwing up on that one. Getting back to Los Santos, I guess the one where you go in and steal the rap song lyrics. Maybe, I don't know. Mad Dog's rhymes. But there's a lot to do in this game, but I only scratched the surface on the game. It's a hell of a blast. I definitely enjoyed it by all means. One of my favorites. Then when the PSP games came out, it took a big step backwards, let me just say. I'm not really even going to get into those. I enjoyed them for what they were, but they're not really a step forward like they should have been. Liberty City Stories was too easy. It was like GTA 3 with extras, but too easy. Vice City Stories, yeah. If you played Vice City, you may or may not enjoy it. You're able to swim, which is good, but you don't have the swimming abilities like in San Andreas. They got everything right. You can dive, but if you stay in the water too long, you eventually die in Vice City Stories. San Andreas, you would only die from being underwater too long if you don't have the right lung capacity. Now, as for the next game that's the big step forward on Xbox 360, this was the game that definitely got me to buy an Xbox 360, because I only had a PlayStation 2 and a Nintendo Wii at the time. Those were the more up-to-date consoles that I only had at the time when that came out. Grand Theft Auto 4. Yep, the first one they made that was finally named after a number. I had to get this one. People couldn't stop raving about it. Would I say it took the big leap forward? To some consent, yes. The realism was more improved, but they subtracted a few things and sacrificed a few things. First of all, there's no jet planes that you can steal. You can get in an airport, but as soon as you do that, you get a wanted level. You can't steal a jet plane. You do get helicopters, but no jet planes, so that's one disappointment. But the realism, I think, is really what mattered in this game. For instance, when you get into a car, you could do drive-bys and shoot and aim at different directions rather than just sideways. Whenever you hit something, you can end up actually going flying through a windshield, but dying is wow, the way you die is in black and white slow motion. Gotta admit, it's incredible. The shooting and everything, and the dialogue, and the more free range, and the fact that instead of just answering phone calls, you can actually make phone calls and text messages and arrange dates rather than just go with the game. You're not dictated towards the gameplay. And yeah, it's just the map is humongous, and everything at nighttime just looks so more realistic. You can watch TV for the first time. It blew my mind in most ways. Still, it was phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't argue. It was, because obviously this was the first time I owned a 360, and I thought it was incredible. And now with GTA 5, I expect it to be a big step forward. I expect it to be GTA 4 combined with San Andreas, and judging by it, it looks like it. So far as I know, it's in San Andreas. The map's supposed to be huge. Let's hope it's as big as San Andreas. And supposedly there's 3 other characters. There's supposed to be jet planes. Please Rockstar, give us that you can fly. And supposedly there's going to be underwater missions. They had swimming in GTA 4, but I think there should have been more improvements. But the city, like, the whole, like, city layout, that when you walk through, it was just unbelievably realistic. I mean, you couldn't say anything more than that. It was simply incredible. Mind-blowing. May not have everything that San Andreas had, but I think that's what they really focused on, like I said before. The missions were fun, and some missions even give you choices. Sometimes the wanted level cheats don't work. Yeah, I use cheats occasionally, but for my recollection, it's still a challenging game. And it's still enjoyable for what it is. Even it has online mode for the first time. You know, the clothing stores like in San Andreas, every type of different store, fast food place, everything. I like the way you get drunk and, you know, you start tipping over and the controller starts vibrating. You got darts, pool, bowling. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better improvement in most ways. Maybe not every way. But anyway, I'm only hoping that GTA 5 gives us everything we want as Grand Theft Auto fans. I can only hope for the best, and that's my recollection. Sorry it went on too long, but as I said, I'm not perfect. Anyway, till next time, happy gaming.